Okay, welcome to our class today. Thanks, Ken, for joining. Today we're going to be talking about ranting and raving. So basically my first question is on the slide. So let me go get that for you just a second. Ranting and raving, we'll share, and now you can see it. Perfect. All right, so ranting and raving. Have you heard of either word before, Ken?
Ranting and Raving. No, I've never heard of it.
Interesting. Well, and sometimes it's those things that you don't know that you know, but you might know it. So I'm sure once we actually get to the vocabulary portion, you'll be like, oh, okay, that's what it means. So what we're going to do very little by little here is, well, because you can't answer this question. Do you remember the context? That's fine. And so now, what does each word mean? Well, ranting. Do you want to read what ranting means, please?
Okay. It means that a person goes on and on and on and on and on about something. It could be that they are upset about situation at home, work, school, etc.
So very good. So they just continue on and on and on and on and on and on, and they don't stop. So that's ranting. You know, when you're talking to a person and you're trying to maybe interject or say something and they just won't let you because they're just talking. So that's ranting. Okay, so obviously this has probably happened to you in your life many times, right?
But I try not to, actually.
Well, you might not be the one ranting, but you might be the one with the person ranting, and then sometimes you just have to say, yeah,
Right. Yeah, I know.
So that's ranting. All right, and now we go down a little bit here. We're going to look at some phrases. Here's some phrases we can use to start our rant. Basically, you probably you're not going to realize that you're about to start a rant. And so this might be a little bit different for those that don't rant in English. But if you're going to, these are some great ways to start. So Ken, why don't you go ahead and read these phrases for us?
Okay. If there's one thing I can't stand, it was absolutely horrendous. It drives me up a wall when it was totally waste of time, money. It's not my style. It's not my cup of tea.
Okay, good. So I put in a couple other. Here we go. And then the last one, it's not my kind, not kids. What happened? It's not my kind of thing. So, okay, so these are the basic ones. I think that was, yeah. So if I go here, we can see all of them. Okay, so as you can see here, these all have like the ... after, which basically means you're obviously going to continue. And with a rant, obviously continue a lot about the topic. So with each of these, there's some interesting vocabulary here. So if there's one thing I can't stand, can you describe to me, Ken, this is your your English quiz today. What does can't stand mean?
Can't stand means I can't tolerate.
Oh, wow. That was a really good, I was wondering how you were going to say that, and can't tolerate is pretty much perfect. You just are not able to be in that situation, you know, for one thing that I just hate, you know, you could also say. These are just the basics of some phrases. You can start a rant in 1,000 different ways, but these are just some of the main ones I would say, okay? So the next one we see, it's absolutely horrendous, okay? So horrendous is, we're using a really interesting, not so common adjective.
Horrendous.
Do you know what horrendous means?
No, it's a new word for me.
Okay, by the By the look of it, does it look like it's positive or negative?
Negative. Maybe
Absolutely.
qualify or something.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, terrible. Horrendous is like, like you think it's bad, worse, and then it's like terrible, horrifying, horrendous.
Okay.
So yeah, it's pretty absolutely bad. So in this case, you can go on a rant about, what things bother you, anything. I mean, there's so many things we can rant about. It's ridiculous. So, but yeah, so that's horrendous. And with absolutely here, we are just adding emphasis. Okay, so we don't have to say absolutely. We can say it was horrendous. It was a really terrible thing. There's many ways that we can adjust this. Okay, so this next one, it drives me up a wall when. Have you heard of this idiom before?
I know the song Up Against the Wall.
That's different.
Oh my gosh. I don't know in that case.
Okay, well, up against a wall, what does that mean? Up against a wall.
Maybe to rebel against something, to protest something. No.
Up against a wall to me sounds like you're in between a rock and a hard place. You're in between, or someone's putting pressure on you to do something. You have to make a tough decision, something like that. Okay. So drives me up a wall means it makes you go crazy.
I see.
It's basically, well, it's similar to can't stand, honestly. It drives me up a wall. I can't stand this. It's ridiculous. When? So again, lots of different ways that we can say this, but with these classes, I'm really trying to add in more idioms and make it kind of normal for us to see idioms on a regular basis because it's just so important. Your English use, Ken, is mainly used in class, correct?
Yeah, so I don't know so much about so many phrasal verbs.
Okay.
Not corporeal. Yeah.
Right. Okay. And what about idioms? Because I'm sure, for example, here in Spain, I hear idioms all the time. That's just normal.
Right.
However, me to use them is more difficult. I don't really use them. But the other thing is that it depends on the situation in which you're in. So if you, for example, are at school, teaching, etc., you're really not going to use idioms or even, well, phrasal verbs depends as well. But it depends on the situation. So if you're not in a situation where, this kid is driving me up a wall, talking about someone to a different teacher, something like that, sure, you could. But I don't know how common, do you use idioms at work or in general when you speak English?
Actually, my knowledge about idiom is not so, no, I'm not so knowledgeable about idiom, but if I know some idiom, I sometimes I use idiom in my sentence. Like, phrasal verbs are in the pain. I forgot.
A pain in the behind?
Pain in the neck? No.
That's the nicer version. A pain in the butt or behind, you can also say as well. There's a little bit.
Okay.
So we have those as well. But yes, okay, so I can see that's good. Okay, so I think what we'll do is go on to the next one here. It was a total waste of time or waste of money. Okay, one that we can use. Do you have any questions about this? It's pretty straightforward.
This is it's easy. Yes, it's simple.
Okay. Definitely going to agree with that. A total waste of time. I shouldn't have gone to the post office because it was a total waste of time. There were way too many people. I couldn't get even some stamps. There's you just continue with the complaints after this. And then the last three are very similar. So it's not my style, it's not my cup of tea, which this idiom I know that you know, and it's not my kind of thing. These three are the same basically. Okay.
Yeah.
Any questions there?
No.
Okay. Well, that's good. Let's see here. Let me go down here a little bit to grammar. Okay. So the grammar is to go on ranting. We're actually using this, which is this a phrasal verb? It's technically a verb and a preposition. So in my account, it would be a phrasal verb. Basically, just continue ranting. And our example here, she went on ranting about her job last night. She didn't stop talking about her job last night. So that's basically what it means. And I wanted to add this here just because we can, she went on. Oh. Okay, also, I just want to add this one. She went on a rant last night about her job or something. So now we're using it. She went on ranting would be the verb. Okay, and then here, a rant is then the noun. So I just want to point out that little difference. Okay, we can use it both ways. Does that make sense?
But first sentence, ranting is gerund, so maybe I think it's noun, right? Went is a verb.
But on is a preposition. And after a preposition, when we have a verb, it must be in the ing form.
Went on. Okay.
Does that make sense? Are you processing that information?
Went on ranting. Yes, because in my class I learned, to make the verb to make verb to noun, gerund is used like.
Right, the gerund form of the verb. Not always.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, I'd like to see specific examples and things like that. Do you remember any of those examples?
Went how can I say, saying.
Yeah, saying.
A lot of verb change to noun in gerund form.
Right, that actually works. So say and saying is what you were talking about. This one too, she quit smoking, for example. Okay, so yeah, smoking in this case is a noun because you can also say she.
Right.
She is quitting smoking. Even though it sounds terrible, you can use this because this is the verb in the present continuous form. She's quitting smoking, and then this is the noun in this case. So it sounds funny, but you can say it. Okay, so yeah, say and a saying, that's good. That's a good example. Yeah, but not always. I mean, if we look at ranting, because this is a verb, like I said, after the preposition, and here we have a rant, and that's our noun in this case.
Right.
Okay, so not all the time. I'm gonna write that one down. Where is my list of? Is this it? I don't think this is it, but I should have another notebook around here, and that's how to do that. Okay, I need to just write it down on a little post-it then. Actually, I'm doing my. Actually, you know what? I can even do it better than that because I have my schedule. So we're doing verbs and then nouns with ing endings. Okay. Perfect. All right, good. All right, so basically, well, We'll do that. Oh, and now you see my discussion question. Okay, so let's see here. Discussion, what was your last rant you had?
Oh. Maybe my private problem or something like that. I'm trying not to, but sometimes I do. I notice what, even though I notice it.
Well, I can tell you, for example, here in Spain, it's very common to do private lessons in which I go to their house, etc. And, you know, because
about my private problems, not lesson. Yeah.
Right. No, I was talking about my personal rant.
Okay, I got it. Sorry. Yeah.
No, that's fine. But for example, you know, I have private lessons. I do them for the entire school year. And so, you know, I have a problem this year is because I need to focus on a different job I have. And so I keep ranting to my husband about, oh, I have this problem. I don't know what to do. If this happens, this and then this and that. And, you know, so I'm just, actually, we can actually say the word venting or inventing, which means you're experimenting, like explaining your situations, getting it off your chest. Something off your chest, for example.
Right.
So, you know, it's kind of that, but I'm ranting because I just kind of repeat myself, I think. And so, you know, I don't want to just tell these people no, but at the same time, it's best if I have fewer classes.
Right.
So that's kind of what my rant has been about probably these days. As the school year starts, people start calling me and etc.
I see.
All right, so what were you going to say about your rants?
My private problems, you know, because life sometimes it's not so kind of, you know, I forgot this word. It's not so, a lot of, you know, kind of difficult situation happens and such things.
Yeah,
so,
you have a bad time.
I sometimes need vent such feeling. Oh my gosh, life is not fair. That's kind of thing.
Yeah. I think we all have those moments at some point in multiple points of our lives, so that's pretty normal.
Right. Yes.
Perfect. All right. Let's see here. If we go down, now we're going to look at raving. Have you heard the word rave or raving before?
Rave is a very fashionable 90s rave party. Same rave.
And so what do you do at those parties?
I think I've never been there, but basically the dance party at night.
Exactly, with some lights and other things. Right. So, good. In this case, that's not what it means. Can you go ahead and read the definition for us, please?
Is when you talk about something that you are very excited about. This could be any experience that you have had, such a trip you went on, a concert, a new course, etc. I see.
So is this positive or negative?
Sounds positive to me.
It does sound positive to me too.
Right.
So basically, I mean, and again, there are many different ways to go on raving about something. And so today we have the ranting, which is negative, and the raving, which is positive. Life is that balance. So let's go down here. Okay, here's some. There are more below, but for now, why don't you go ahead and read these examples for us, okay?
Okay. Here are some common expressions we can use while raving about something. It was the most wonderful, amazing, awesome. It's really the best ever I've ever been to. It's an all-time classic. I could believe my luck when I couldn't believe my eyes.
Okay, good. So let's talk about these that we see right now. Okay, the first one is basically pretty simple. We're using the superlative here, the most, plus an adjective. And then after this, obviously, we will need to have a noun. Okay, the most wonderful concert, something like that. Okay, and then here it's really the best. So again, we're using the superlative form, the best, with another noun here, ever, or you can say I've ever been to. Depends on how you want to say this, who you're talking to, etc. Any questions with these two?
No.
Well, that's good then. Okay, so what is an all-time classic? Can you explain what an all-time classic is?
Maybe no disappointment about that all the time.
No disappointment. Okay, not exactly. Any other guesses?
Best is the best.
Yeah,
Best of the
yeah.
best. I mean,
Well, sure. Well, this can mean many different things. I mean, it just depends on the context. So an all-time classic movie could be a famous movie from the past, for example.
I see, yeah.
Or your songs, it's an all-time classic. This is from like when I was in my early 20s or something like that's classic. So it means like kind of the best of the past, I guess you could say, if I had to put it into different words. Okay. All right. So now I couldn't believe my luck when. What can you interpret this sentence for me? What do you think it means?
Very lucky thing happened, so the person cannot believe that luck.
Exactly. Yeah, they're astonished. They're like, "Whoa! I couldn't believe my luck. It was amazing."
Yeah.
Absolutely. Very good. And then so basically this one too, I couldn't believe my eyes is something that you can't imagine, like, really, this is what I'm seeing right now. I can't believe that. When you meet a famous person. Have you been in a situation in which you couldn't believe your eyes?
This moment I took the Paul McCartney, my album pictures. Yeah.
That's what I was thinking of. Good. Well, let's go down. I think there is one more on the other page, but why don't you read these two here?
Okay. There's really absolutely nothing better than. It was one of the most spectacular I've ever been to.
So again, we're using some really good quantifiers here, to really help the situation. There's really nothing better than. So basically, it was the best. We're just using it kind of the opposite. There's really nothing, absolutely nothing better than. It was the most perfect moment in the world. And then here too, we're also using the superlative form. I mean, it's just so common in this because you're so excited and you're just like, you have to use really great grammar, and that in this case is going to be the superlative.
Right.
Okay, and then I think there's one more. Oh yeah, there's two more here. Okay, go ahead and read those two for us.
It was absolutely amazing, fantastic, incredible. You would have loved it.
So here we're using absolutely with another adjective, and then here you would have loved it. So, okay, any questions about these, about the raving portion?
No, thank you.
No? Okay. All right, good. So let's go down here to the grammar then. Okay, with the example. Oh, yeah. Okay, so this is something, rave over or about. It's a phrasal verb here, okay? So my example then is she was raving over or about her new car. She thinks it's the best thing since sliced bread, which is obviously another idiom I've put in here for you to talk about. But I think naturally I'm saying over. I know about is first, but I said over twice first. So I think she's raving over is more common for me. She's raving about something as well, obviously, is perfectly fine. No difference. Okay. Questions. Or actually, why don't we talk about it's the best thing since sliced bread? Have you heard of this idiom before?
No, bread. Oh.
Can you imagine what it is?
The first time humans sliced bread, it was a long time ago, so maybe this idiom expresses such long time. Yeah, best things in a long years or something like that.
Okay. Well, I can see how that would make sense. Basically, what they're saying is that when sliced bread was invented, it was like the best thing ever. You can make sandwiches then. It made life easier, probably, but it was just the simple task of slicing, of cutting the bread into pieces. And so basically, what she's saying, or what the sentence is talking about, is her new car is like the best thing or the best invention since sliced bread, even though there have been many inventions in between. For example, the cell phone, drinkable water, straws to help people in Africa, computers, laptops, etc. So she's just saying this is the second best thing in the world. So, yeah, no, it's pretty silly, but I was doing this and I was like, it'd be funny to put in there. So now for the discussion. Tell us something you have most likely raved over.
Finally, I got a smartphone this summer because I cleaned up my mobile phone. Washing up my mobile phone in the washing machine. So I was no choice to have smartphone. At first, I was in a deep confusion how to handle it. But now, after I began to be able to handle it, I realized, oh, it's convenient, even though I telling my private, all of my, not all, but most of the private information, where to go to Google, Mr. Google, but it's convenient. So I somewhat raving about that.
Yeah, so probably in this situation, you were ranting about the fact that your mobile phone was washed, and then you were raving over the fact that you had a new one, and it was fantastic.
Yeah, that's a good example. Thank you. Yes.
The positives and negatives about everything. Good.
Right.
Let's see. Something I've most likely raved over. Actually, I was pretty happy with how my enchiladas came out the other day. I made some. Well, we eat is it turkey instead of chicken, just because I like how the meat is better. And so I made enchiladas, and I was really impressed. I thought they tasted pretty good considering I'm in Spain and I don't have some things that are needed. But with my kind of mix of things, it actually turned out pretty good. So I was pretty impressed. So I was raving over that for a bit that night, but then that was about it. I don't think I've mentioned it until today, so I can't say I was really raving over, but good. Are there any other things that other people rave about? I mean, your best friends, do they, what's going on lately with your friends? Anything interesting? Someone get a new job?
The example about people?
Yeah. Anything else that you've heard?
Yeah, yesterday was my friend's birthday, so I said happy birthday to him.
Okay, well, that's not exactly raving. If you go back to your 90s dance theory about raving, it's semi-similar because they're excited, it lasts for a while, they rave, they're building something up. So my question is, because there's all these hurricanes right now, we had Harvey, we had Irma, and now is it Maria's coming through, Jose's coming through. My question to you, in your opinion, do you think that people are ranting or raving about this?
I think ranting is much common than raving for hurricanes. Because it's a natural disaster. So, but somewhat, people, it's a strange phenomenon. People, how can I say, kind of hormone releasing when the critical thing happened. So some people got there to go to the strong wind at the ocean, and I found one broadcasting ordinary, somewhat famous broadcaster, kind of YouTuber kind of person, dare to go to the dangerous beach to broadcast himself. And people watching his show, saying, "Oh, it's dangerous. You should leave," or something like that. But maybe some people attract to watching or such thing. Maybe because our brain, how can to get adrenaline? Maybe we need to kind of because in order to survive or in order to run away, we need energy. So maybe such kind of hormone related to somewhat kind of high. I don't know high is a proper word for that, but releasing our brain. Maybe that's why it happens.
Yeah. Well, I was kind of thinking, and I mean, people are ranting probably after the fact that happens, and like maybe this isn't the best example in the world, but it was the first thing that came to mind because people are ranting. It's negative after it happens, but before, I think they're kind of raving because they're building up the situation, and this means it's when you talk about something you're very excited about. Well, excited could also be anxious, depending on the context.
Right.
So it was kind of a trick question.
Yeah, exactly.
I just wanted to see what you were going to say. So it is quite confusing, but I think to me, before it happens, they're raving, before they're ranting, and then after they're ranting, because they're like, we need all this stuff. And I don't want to say that they're complaining, obviously, because they have an obvious reason to be, in a negative situation. So maybe it wasn't the best example, but I just wanted to. Yeah, actually, ranting probably isn't it, because they're going to go on and on and on about something. And I think that's the wrong context. So maybe different example here. But good. Let's see. I'm trying to think. In Japan, do many people say please and thank you a lot?
Yeah. Same as in America.
Oh, really the same? That's funny. Because here in Spain, for example, it's not so common, and so I'm just trying to think that some people could rant about people being too polite, maybe when they go to the store or something like that. So, yeah. Well, actually, one thing we could do. Have you heard anything? As far this is what I want. The examples. Other examples that we can add to our list. So now that we understand what it is there anything that you can remember, anything that you've heard before?
Right. I'm starting. Maybe I was shocked, or I feel terrible, or such phrases. Yeah,
so you can say I was completely shocked. Completely when I heard something. What was the other one that you said?
I feel terrible.
Terrible. I actually wanted to add something to this first one, just because we were talking about phrasal verbs before. I can't stand, I can't deal with, for example. That one's pretty common, right? Deal with.
Yeah.
And deal with is actually kind of negative in general. So obviously it's can't stand, I can't deal with. Deal, well, if you say, I have to deal with the paperwork, that means you have to, manage the paperwork, but you're also saying that you kind of don't want to, that it's not going to be an easy task.
Okay.
Okay. So good. Horrendous. What about some different adjectives that aren't so common, that are negative?
Absolutely awful.
Oh, that's a really good one. Awful. Oops. Awful. The awkward as well. Yeah, do you know what awkward is?
Yeah, awkward means weird. Maybe.
Yep, very uncomfortable at times because you're in an awkward situation when it's silent and it do.
I see.
Yeah, so that's good. Do you know any other idioms for like to go crazy?
Go nuts.
That was the only one I was thinking. How can I say this? I go nuts when. I guess I went, I suppose, too, if you want to talk about the past.
Right.
Or in the present, if it's about some kind of habit or something. I go nuts when I hear blah, blah, blah. So that's good. Let's see. Trying to think. I don't know. I think more or less this is kind of okay, but I wanted to add a couple more just because, I mean, like I said, there's so many different ways. And one thing I can't stand. But on a rant, yeah, no, I'm not coming up with anything else. I was wondering if there was another idiom or something like it's not my cup of tea. But I can't really think of it now either, so that doesn't help. Just because we have it's not my style, it's not my kind of thing, not my cup of tea. So I think that's fine. Let's maybe go down to raving. Okay. Yeah, there's definitely some things here that we haven't seen. I had such a great time with such an amazing something. Oops. Oh. Can you think of any?
It was such amazing. It was awesome time. Makes sense?
It was an awesome time.
Couldn't have asked for. I see.
For a better, meal, a better,
Right.
I don't know, a better person in my life or something like that. Couldn't have asked for anything better, I suppose you could say.
Right. This phrase is pretty English-like sentence. Yeah.
Really?
I got a meaning, but Japanese maybe sentence. Yeah. couldn't have asked for better.
Okay, so you said
Yeah.
English, like the language, not as people from England.
Yeah. Also, I heard a phrase of "I couldn't agree with you more." It sounds very
Yeah.
English to me. I mean, yeah, English language to me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. We can use it here
At first,
about.
it's deny. It couldn't. It's a kind of negative, but negative turned to be positive, very positive. Sounds
Mm-hmm.
fantastic. Yeah.
I'm trying to think of. There's definitely other ones like this that we use. I can't. Oh, I couldn't have it said it better.
Yeah, yes, yes. I have said it there, right?
That's strange. So we have the negative modal verb with a
That's
positive
very,
phrase.
that's kind of wonder of English too. English language.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
This is like those magical phrases that you have to you have to be pretty good at English in order to understand. Because yeah, you're absolutely right. Oh, I'm so confused on what this could be. Negative model with no negative model. Positive, negative and positive model verbs. It's not what I want. Phrases. I don't know. This is crazy. I don't even know what to call this. No, they're talking about negative model verbs. No, they're talking about question tags. No, I think this is just one of those. I don't know. There has to be something. Oh, I hate when I don't know what this grammar is. So good. Oops. Okay, good. Well, I don't know, Ken. Anything else? Is there anything else going on? I finished the lesson and we thought of some new phrases and I just can't. I don't know. What about some big news? Any big news going on that you can rave about?
Typhoon was over on Sunday. Actually, this weekend was consecutive holidays, and Saturday, Sunday, Monday. But Sunday, typhoon hit Sunday. So, but
Yeah, I've heard something about that.
yeah, but
But like where
it
you live?
yeah, but it's passed through the a bit far from this area, so
Okay.
just a lot of rain. No, not so strong wind here. So,
Well, that's good.
so yeah. Anyway, but I stayed at home during daytime because typhoon hit mainly morning to afternoon. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
so that so I was watching movie or something on Netflix or something.
Well, what are you going to do? Actually, Netflix is a big rave these days. It's all over the world. It's cheap. It's pretty easy. I don't have it. I have something else that's very similar, but not Netflix. So
It is said 40% American household subscribing Netflix now. Pretty big.
I wouldn't be
Yeah.
surprised. I wouldn't be surprised. I know it was popular when I was in the United States. But I know my parents don't have it. Big surprise. No, I don't know.
But 40% still,
That's a lot.
60%. Yeah.
Well, I mean, if you think about it, what is it? In the United States, I think, well, here it's 10 euros per month. So I'm assuming it's $10 per month there. That's a great deal, If you think about back in the days when we had like the movie stores where you had to like go to the place to rent the movie and hopefully they had it, and the late fees and stuff like that. Do you know about that? Do you remember? Obviously.
Actually, it's still DVD rental store or CD rental store is available. But I'm
Really?
afraid of, because of this kind of thing, maybe they are closing the store. Maybe because, sometimes I can find a latest film.
Mm-hmm.
They are renting not latest, maybe second latest film
Mm-hmm.
just $1. pretty good deal. But sometimes it is not available on Netflix or on internet subscription site. So I want to have both, but they become the internet, kind of streaming site is getting stronger and stronger. Maybe they will close the shop in Vienna, probably. Also,
Yeah, I mean,
CD renting CD just costs $3. Actually, buying CD here is pretty expensive. It costs $30.
really, I think in the United States it was between like $15 and $20 per CD. And I was like,
Right.
really? I
Right.
mean,
Because of the tax,
mm,
the book and CD music industry was protected by the law. So because of the system, book and CD cannot be discounted in Japanese shop.
interesting.
So many people buy CD on Amazon because imported
Mm-hmm.
CD in terms of
Yeah,
non-Japanese music. Yeah.
interesting. You know, it's so funny. There are some things in Spain that are more expensive than the United States, and vice versa. So it's just interesting how, each country has their own rules
Right. Mhm.
and things like that. So, well, good. I think with that, we will finish for today, and we can rant and rave about other things a different day. So, let me go ahead and check next class. Thomas doesn't have
Mhm.
anything in the anything set up for next week, so I'll have to send him a little reminder. But basically, we're having a conversation on Monday, and it's going to be about social media, and if you think it's good.
Oh yeah, that's nice.
Obviously, anything that's, like one extreme or the other really probably isn't good. So, of course, in the middle is good. But we'll talk about some different things, the pros and the cons, how it's changed our society, because as I remember as a child, my childhood was very different than the childhood that people have now. And also, on next Wednesday, actually, we're going to look at some more idioms, and it's vocabulary and idioms about people.
Okay.
So that's all I'm going to tell you for now, because Thomas will have to add those. Like I said, I'm going to send him a message right now, just because if
Okay.
I don't, I'm probably likely to forget as well until Monday. So
Okay.
with that, we will finish. Thanks, Ken, for joining and participating and reading. Did you learn anything today?
Yeah, I learned a lot, so thank you very much.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Well, that makes me feel better. Good. My job is done. I'm finished. So have a great day, and
Well
we'll see
done.
you on Monday, okay?
Yes. Thank you.
Okay.
Have a nice
Thank
day.
you. All right.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye, Ken.
Bye.
Bye.